Oh, it's been a while. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, year and a half without making any videos, and to be honest, it's something that I've really been missing, but I had a lot to deal with, as a lot of you had over the last year or so. With business, making sure that I was going to survive, positioning myself so I could carry on, essentially looking after myself. But I'm hoping from this point forward, I'll be making a lot more videos. So what's been going on? Where do I even start? Let's start with the cars. Let's start with some of the videos you've probably seen already on the channel and what's going on with those, which ones I've still got. Some of you were following the GT6 build. I bought that for I think it was my 40th, or my 40th, and I'm 43 now. So that car, we made some good progress with it when I started, and then it kind of stalled quite a lot, like a lot of projects do, you know. I will hold my hands up and say I lost interest and was focused on other things. I bought the Carbon gear, and yeah, it sat for a while. It actually sat right here in this office, and it got to the beginning of last summer 2023, and I really just felt like if the car didn't come out of here, it was going to end up just being an expensive paperweight. So it was rolled out during the summertime, and I did pay a mechanic to kind of do some basic safety work on it. I just wanted to make sure that the things I had done were good enough, and also to get to the point where the car was running under its own steam. That was super important to me, and to be honest, that's happened. We achieved that. I didn't throw a lot of money at it. I think I spent about probably £500–600 on the car, just doing wheel bearings, going over brakes, checking the engine. It's now outside, and I've just last week found a new workshop for it, so I'm going to be able to get it into its own space. I spent some time looking to see if I could get the right paint, because we had the bonnet resprayed and that didn't go well. The reason was I was trying to find factory colours, and the thing is that car was rebuilt in like 1985 or something, and we have no idea what paint went onto the car. So yeah, I've got a paint match now. I actually took the car to someone with a spectrometer, and they've actually matched the paint I've got. I've bought myself a 200-litre air compressor. I've bought myself a spray gun, and it is very much on the cards in the next few months to have a go at doing the bonnet myself. Other than that, with the GT6, yeah, we're just going to kind of carry on pottering away on it. It is running. It needs to get out and be run on the road, so we've got a few things to do before that is finished, and we'll see where that goes. Then there's the Carbon gear, which is possibly my favourite car I have ever owned. And when I bought that car, I did a video on it. It's one of my most viewed videos on the channels. When I made that video, I was completely unaware of how much work the car needed and how much of a bodge job it had on it. The air suspension was bad. It didn't drive well. The engine was okay, and honestly, the engine's been super strong, but this year with that car, I want to upgrade the air ride system. I want to look at putting in a hardline air ride system under the hood and completely redo that, more from a kind of point of view of making it look nice on the car as well, rather than it looking like it's just been thrown in there, which it was by the previous owner, or the previous owner. And I've been talking to either Resto, which are based down in Cannock, I believe. Fantastic air ride company, and I think I'm going to be using their products moving forwards on the car. A big one with the Carbon gear is the bodywork. There's certain places on the body which have essentially been filled or slightly rotted. It's a California import, so overall it's structurally really good, but there are certain things on the bodywork that I really need to address. And there's questions I need to answer as well. For instance, the car is a 1973, and for some reason it's running King and Link pin on the front end, and a 73 should be running ball joints on the front end. So I need to figure out if the nose cone has been switched, which is going to be my guess, because it's still got IRS on the back end of the car. So yeah, we're going to be spending a lot more time on the Karmann gear as well, bringing that up to scratch. So yeah, that's the Karmann gear. What next? Well, I bought a Fiat Panda 4x4, which is probably one of my favourite hatchbacks I've ever owned. I barely drive it, but when I do, I love it. It's a diesel, it's a 1.3, it's just a really tidy car. All I've done is the brakes, a bit of work on the suspension because someone had fitted the wrong suspension to the back end of the vehicle, and other than that, it's now at a point where we can either take it on some adventures or start making it a little bit more individual, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, that is the Fiat Panda 4x4. What's next? Then there's my Landrovers, of which I have 4. Now, I haven't really talked about this on the channel, but I own 4 black Land Rover Defender 110s. 3 of them are TD5s, and I've got a 200 TDI as well. The reason I own those cars is because my second business, Wandering Icons, hires out Land Rover Defenders. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. It started off just as a kind of side hustle because we were really struggling with Victoria House, which is the beach house that I hire up here in Dunoon in Scotland. And that's really taken off. Over the last 3 years, we've had some bad luck. I lost 2 Land Rovers in a weekend, complete write-offs. But since then, we've built back up. We've got the 4. And the chances are a lot of you will have seen those vehicles as well, because they are used in a very, very popular BBC game show called The Traitors. And I've had the contract for The Traitors for 3 seasons now. Season 2's just finished airing. Season 3 we're going to be filming later on this spring, which I'm super looking forward to. So we're going to be doing a lot more videos on the Land Rovers, including new roof tents that I'm going to be bringing in to use for when my guests come up to hire these cars. Because essentially, as well as doing the TV work, you can come up to Scotland, hire one of my Land Rovers off me with a roof tent, with all the camping gear, and I'll help you explore Scotland. That's another thing that I do. So yeah, that's the Land Rovers, and we'll be working a lot more on them to bring them up to a similar standard, because that's something that we essentially need to do for the TV show, and I really want to make sure we keep that relationship going. Then there's my new daily. So you might have seen last year I had a VW, what was it? A VW split screen 1966. I did one video on it, which I still kick myself about because that car was so nice, and I did so many road trips in it, but it was always to escape, so I really wasn't thinking about filming. But it just got to a point where between all of my classics and the Land Rovers, I'm visiting the petrol station way too much, and I needed one modern vehicle. So I put it up for sale. This is the split screen, and within the space of, I think, 3 months, we barely got any offers because it's been a bad time financially for a lot of people. And in the end, I got contacted by a guy down south, and he offered to do a swap, pardon me, with a VW T6 2016 plate, Euro 5.5, ticked all the boxes, and I drove down to Carlisle in my 66 and I swapped it for a 2016, handed over the keys, and that was that. That van has been brilliant. It's a 6-seater combi. Rear seats pop out, and I'm planning to put that onto my hire fleet again for people coming up to Scotland, exploring the country. We're going to make that a camper van. So yeah, that's my daily. As well as all of those, I actually own an old school retro motorbike, which I purchased back in 2019, I think. It's a Honda CX500 that has been converted to a tracker. I bought it already kind of resto-modded, as it were, and I'm going to be using this vehicle in very soon videos to start practicing bodywork. So I'm going to be working on the fenders, and I'm going to be working on the gas tank, just to start teaching myself the basic process of bodywork and prep before I get into spraying, because from everything that I've learned on YouTube, bodywork and prep is 90% of the battle. So yeah, Honda CX500, gorgeous looking bike. I barely ever use it because on my 4th trip out I hit a deer doing 60 miles an hour. Luckily there was no damage to me or the bike or the deer other than a very sore leg and a knocked out deer, but that motorbike is there as well. And yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited about 2024 and what we're going to do with these cars. I hope you are too. I'd just like to say thank you for subscribing to the channel, even though I barely post any content, but moving forwards I promise you I'm going to put more effort into this. And if there's anything that you'd like to see on the channel, if you ever notice anything in the background on any of my videos, or you want to know about any of the cars, if I can answer your questions, I'm always more than happy to, and vice versa. If there's anything that you can teach me about these vehicles, any mistakes I'm making, I really appreciate that, because it's all about building a community and having each other, having that support network there to carry on growing and learning as a channel. But other than that, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. I promise you we're going to have a video out very soon. First thing we're going to be looking at is, yeah, working on that Honda CX500, just to learn about those basic processes and maybe a bit of welding as well, and we'll take it from there. But otherwise, if you've enjoyed the channel, if it's your first video that you've seen and you think that you'd like to see more of this, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that, and I will catch you next time. Bye guys.